Parshas Noach speaks about the flood. Eibishter Hashem punished the world by bringing a flood that destroyed all mankind besides Noach. And then the Eibishter made a promise that he'll never bring a flood again on the world. There's a lot of discussions on this according to Chassidus, the inner meaning of Torah. There's a very interesting and famous talk of the Rebbe about this topic, where the Rebbe says that everything in Torah inherently is good, and that the concept of the flood is a preparation for the time when there will be a future flood in a very positive sense. The Torah tells us, the prophet tells us, that in the future the world will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem. K'mayim l'yam mechasim, just as waters cover the sea, the world will be completely submerged with the knowledge of godliness. And the flood that happened during the days of Noach was a preparation, part of the process of preparing the world. It wasn't just to rid the world of sin, but a more inner, positive light. From a mystical perspective, it was a preparation for the time when the world will be filled with water. Water is a reference to knowledge, and just like when a person goes to a mikveh, to a ritual bath, to according to halacha, a person is impure, he dips in the mikveh, becomes pure. And the Rambam explains that the idea of dipping in the mikveh is metaphorically represents the idea of a person submerging himself, his whole existence, his whole being, in the waters of knowledge. Water is compared to Torah wisdom, to knowledge. So when a person dips and submerges himself in the knowledge of Hashem, he becomes completely transformed and he becomes pure. Similarly, the world was completely submerged with water, represents that the world was completely submerged with the great revelation of godliness, which prepared it for the time of the future when the world will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem as water covers the sea. However, there's one very important difference between the flood that was in the days of Noach and in the flood the way it will be when Mashiach will come. In the days of Noach, the flood destroyed the earth. As the Pasuk says, L'shachei sa'aris, the purpose of the water was to destroy existence as we know it. And that Hashem promised will never happen again, because the purpose of godly revelation is not to destroy physicality, but on the contrary, that physicality itself should become one with godliness. So in the times of Noach, the flood was very intense, but because the world wasn't ready for it yet, so the world couldn't, the regular functions of the world, all mankind besides Noach and his family and the people and the animals that were in the teva ceased to exist. They were destroyed, they were completely nullified by this great revelation. In the future, it says the world will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem as water covers the sea. The world will still exist. It's just the world will become completely one, completely submerged with godliness. But not that the world will be destroyed, that the existence of mankind will be destroyed. On the contrary, it will become one with Hashem. So this is a very powerful point, because it helps us understand that, first of all, that everything that happens in Torah has a positive meaning to it, but also it helps us understand that the revelation of godliness in the future won't be something which will, so to say, obliterate, destroy, take away something from the world. On the contrary, it will reveal how the world and Hashem are really one. The world will become completely submerged with Hashem in a way that the world and Hashem, so to say, will become one. This is also alluded to in the words of the Rambam. When the Rambam finishes his book and he describes the days of Mashiach, the Rambam writes regarding mankind in the future, V'yasigu das boiram k'vi koyach ha'adam. He says they will be able to grasp knowledge of their Creator as much as koyach ha'adam, as the capability of man. Now simply, these words of the Rambam are limiting. The Rambam is trying to say that yes, there will be a great revelation, but this great revelation will only be as much as man can grasp. But the Rebbe explains that there's another way of understanding the Rambam. The Rambam is saying a much deeper concept. There will be a great revelation of godliness. But this great revelation of godliness will not overtake man. It won't be something which a person will feel is beyond him. On the contrary, k'fi koyach adam, he will feel that he has the capability to grasp it. Because through the service, the divine service, up until the times of Mashiach, throughout the thousands of years of doing Torah mitzvahs and serving Hashem, the world, the Jewish people, mankind as a whole, will be on a level that they'll be able to understand godliness. There'll be a flood of water. There'll be great revelation. Everything in the world will become permeated with godliness, but it won't destroy the world. On the contrary, the world will be able to obtain it. Hashem should help that we should merit this great positive experience of being flooded with knowledge. This flood already started, as we know that there's a famous Zohar that says that in the 600th year of the 6th millennium, the waters, the floods of divine wisdom, which are the teachings of Kabbalah and Chassidus, and also the waters of the wisdom from below, science and other things, which also help to bring out the oneness of creation, as we see particularly in modern science. It brings out the unity in creation, which mirrors the unity of the Creator. So the flood already has begun. We should all dip inside of it, submerge ourselves in the knowledge of Hashem, and we should merit to have the ultimate fulfillment of this positive flood speedily in our days.